Hi, I'm Kate Hemmings and I'm pleased to welcome you to the June issue of Crafts Beautiful magazine. It's jam-packed with freebies this issue, but before I get onto that, I'm joined by the lovely Corinne Bradd. Hello Corinne.
Kate.
And she's going to demonstrate one of our favourite crafting techniques of the moment for us. So what are you going to show us, Corinne?
I'm going to show you the simple technique of needle felting, and I've made some corsages here from layered petals. It seems to be really, really popular at the minute.
Yeah,
I know
it really
on the
does.
website, loads of people have been logging on to have a look at the demonstration, and it is dead easy. Here is my travel size foam block,
Okay,
which is a washing up sponge.
Resourceful
But
to the
they're
last.
great. Well, they're great for working on. I mean, you can chuck them out. They're quite cheap. In the end, the surface will get dotted and pitted, but you know, it's a washing up sponge. Who cares?
It's true.
I've got here some little mini cutters.
Are they cookie cutters?
They are little mini sort of biscuit petit four cutters.
Okay.
I've got a feeling actually I've stolen them off my daughter.
Oh, well let's
but
hope she's
this
not
one is
watching
great.
them.
It's a simple petal shape. So if you lay that on top of your sponge,
Okay.
and if you get some pink fleece, now you can see from the colours that I've got here, I mean that's just half of what I've got at home. It comes in all sorts of colours now.
Yeah, some
I
are
would
really
recommend
vibrant
you-
as well,
yeah,
aren't they? They're
don't-
lovely.
You can dye it yourself, but it's so
It's a lot of
cheap
trouble.
to buy, you might as well just buy it in these colours. So rip it up a bit so that the fibres are starting to mesh already, and pop it in to your cookie cutter. If you grab
So
a
it
needle,
doesn't matter if it's sort of sticking
no,
out the
because
top.
I'm going to start stabbing it. Ooh. And you can do this actually with your eyes closed after a while, but it's not recommended.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. I definitely won't be.
So if you stab it right down, now this needle I'm using here is a triangular needle with barbs. There's different widths of needle that you can get along here.
Okay.
So you've got some for like rough felting, and then as you get to a finer detail, you go down in needle size.
Oh, I see.
But most suppliers will tell you which ones are best to use. This is just, I think, about a standard 36 gauge.
Oh, it's
So if
from
you
the
take
shape.
it off and peel it away and flip it over and pop it back in there,
And do
and
the other
stab it down
side.
again to do the other side. And then once you've stabbed it down, I've found the best way of neatening it all off is if you grab a couple of finger stools, which you can pick up from the stationers,
Okay.
because you will stab your, and it hurts, this needle.
Yeah, I
because
can
it's
imagine. It
barbed.
looks a bit lethal.
Pop it between there, and then just very carefully stab into the sides of it. And what that does is it gets all the rough bits, pokes it back inside it, and it just cleans up the edge.
So it
of your
stops the
petals.
sort of fuzzy appearance.
Stops the, the other thing you can do, you can trim it with a pair of small scissors. You know, if you really can't get rid
Yeah.
of the fuzz and you really want a smooth effect, then you can just trim it with a pair of nail scissors afterwards. But
It
just
goes
keep
into shape
stabbing it.
really quickly, doesn't it?
Does. A lot of the felt that you, I mean, if you can get a wool that's got quite a long strand length to it, because
Okay.
obviously different sheep have different lengths of wool, you'll find that will probably knit together quicker. But once you've got the hang of it, I mean, it's something you can literally sit there and just do. Well, with something like that, you can pop it all in a bag. You can just get
Yeah,
it out
that's
when you,
true.
you know, when you've
Easy.
got 5 minutes and you feel like stabbing something, which is quite often. So you shape your petal up like this. What you do when you've got your petals, and here are some I made earlier, you can then assemble them together in a flower.
Oh.
These have all been neatened off, and they've got quite a decent point to the end of them.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So if you, before you lay it down, grab yourself another piece of fleece just to lay down the back.
Okay. Is this
Okay.
going to join all the
This
petals
will join the
together?
petals together. If you just simply put it into a ball
Okay.
and stab it in place just to hold it.
So will this form the middle part of the flower?
Yes, but it will form the back of the middle.
Oh, right, okay.
So then stab your petals into it.
And does that kind of mesh the fibres together?
Yeah, it will do. And what you can do in a minute is you can turn it over and flip it over. It's the action of pushing them down one way, because the barbs on the needle will push them down and catch them and bring
Oh,
them
I
back up
see.
again. And if you turn it over and push them down the other, it will keep knitting it
Okay.
in. The more you stab it, the more solid a shape you'll get. So if you're doing sort of three-dimensional figures onto an armature, like we did with some dogs a few
Yeah.
months back, you'll find that the more you stab it in, the more solid the limbs will become. But something like a corsage, because of the number of petals you'll put on this, you'll probably only need to sort of stab this about a dozen times for each petal,
Okay.
because you'll keep going back into it each time. And the other thing, I mean, if you're in any dirt, you can just put another layer of felt over the top to hold it in place.
And I
So
suppose
there's
the
the
great thing
one
is because
colour.
you can keep neatening it up as well.
Yeah.
If it's a
Yeah,
little
you
bit
can keep
fuzzy or you've
working
added
over
to,
it.
you can just keep going.
I'm just going to stab back into the back, just to get some of that fuzziness out.
You can already see it starting to neaten up quite
And
nicely.
it's such a satisfying
It looks
sound.
quite a therapeutic craft.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a second layer of petals over the top, and these are on the floor now. I will make another petal to show you how I've done this, because these are 2 colours. Again, just take a piece of bright pink, pop it in there, stab it into shape, and then before you turn it over, if you get a different colour and you just need a few fibres just to make an extra colour, and literally you don't need much at all. You want that sort of translucent effect so you can still see the pink underneath.
So you don't have to put it in a specific part of it either, you can just kind of stab it in wherever.
Just stab it in wherever. Turn it over and neaten up the back, and then I am going to neaten the front again in a minute. This is called speed stabbing.
Okay. You are getting faster and faster
I am
at that.
getting faster and faster. I know at some point I'm going to stab myself in the finger. But you get like a variegated petal. You can do that for leaves as well. I mean, if you've got 2 colours of green, you can make some really nice variegated leaves. I've seen some lovely ivy leaves done.
Yeah, I can imagine actually. I bet that looks really effective.
That will do for now, just to show. And then get your flower again and make sure that you put these petals in the gaps. And if you make sure the centres are a bit nearer the middle, the petals will appear smaller for your layered flower. And they do hold in really, really well.
It's just amazing how quickly it meshes together.
Yeah, I mean, once you get the hang of it, I mean, because the fleece is so inexpensive, it's one of those things that you can play around with it. And if you don't, if you don't get it right, it doesn't matter. You've not wasted a fortune. Your needles will last for quite a while. What does tend to blunt the needles is the foam pad.
Okay.
So after a while, if you find that things aren't knitting together as well as they should do, change your needle, because they're very, very tiny, the barbs on them, and they will get blunt, and it won't hook it back up again.
Okay.
So there's your flower, and then just for a centre, again, take a piece of fleece, stab it into a rough circle, and you can do that by
manipulating
it around the needle.
And then you just stab that on top.
Stab it on top.
Fab.
And then you can sew a safety pin or a brooch back onto the back of it. You can also sew it direct onto fabric, as I have done here. Yeah, and that you can see from the reverse of it.
Oh right, okay.
It's just felted in there, and then I've just sewn some seed beads on the top of it for sparkle.
Cool.
So it really is really cool, really quick.
Quite versatile as well. Lots of potential for
and it's
good
fun.
projects.
I mean, that took what, 4 or 5 minutes all told?
Yeah. Well, that was great, Corinne.
Good.
Thank you for that. Now, you want to tell us about the free papers with Crafts Beautiful this issue as well?
Yes, I do. These free papers are by Sarah Rushton, sorry. And Amanda Walker's come up with a little stationery set that she's made. But I love these butterflies.
They're
I mean,
gorgeous,
the
aren't they?
colours are lovely, the turquoise and the butterflies. And Amanda's cut them out and mounted them on wire for this card, which is very nice.
That's gorgeous.
It is lovely.
Definitely a fab freebie.
A great one.
And talking of fab freebies, we've got Father's Day on the horizon, and as we know, it's one of the trickiest dates on the crafting calendar. Let's be honest about it. So we decided to give you a helping hand with our card book, Cool Cards for Men, which has got 25 projects in it, as well as 10 exclusive backing sheets by Kirsty Wiseman. So look out for that, because it's really handy. Now, I've brought along some of my favourite projects to show you.
I've got my eye
I
on
know
them.
you've spotted this one. This is by Dawn Small of Bijou Beads.
Oh, yes.
And she's used some gorgeous pearls, some faceted gems, some really chunky blue drops. And it looks really lovely, really professional finish on that.
I mean, it looks very expensive. It's the sort of thing you could make, for a friend.
Yeah, and it'll be a really nice gift. You can make a nice gift box for it on a gift bag.
Yeah.
And talking of gift bags, that leads us nicely onto this project, which happens to feature one. This is by Louise Brigden. She's given us some more inspiration for Father's Day again, with this gorgeous collection of cards, tags, this lovely bag, and this beautiful journal here, which is lovely. And she's used different pockets and things for photos, and you could adapt that for sort of different hobbies, depending on what your dad likes.
And it's been bound with a binder tool, so it means you can get quite a lot of thickness. With the size of the binding.
It looks lovely,
it's
you can
great.
fit a lot in there. And lastly, I've brought along this project, which a few of you might remember from a previous issue, Amanda Walker's Dolly. She's created a new wardrobe for her with this floppy hat, gorgeous vintage look dress, and these gorgeous boots, which we love.
Boots.
So that's all the projects. We've got some great features as well, including a wedding feature for brides on a budget who want to craft, as well as kids' craft parties too. So that's
brilliant.
fab
I'll
to look
keep an eye
out
out
for
for them.
those. And that's what we've got time for here today, but do remember, if you want to download any extra papers or the original pattern for the dolly, come along to www.craftsbeautiful.com. See you next time.